On this one. I'm going to speak very fast because Jeff needs to get this done within an hour. Welcome back to another episode of Comrades. I'm your host, Scott Malkus, and with me is Jeff Marsick, my co-host. This is a weekly conversation about the FX series, The Americans, and let's get right into it. Jeff, how are you today?
Boy, that was very monotone.
Sorry, that's the only way I can speak fast. Should we start over? I'm sorry, was that really crappy?
No. Well, it's a unique opening.
Jeff, well, I was trying to get into that. I don't know what I was doing. I was trying to speak fast, and I can't speak fast without speaking monotone. I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff doesn't have time for me to dilly-dally today. He said, let's get this over.
I was just saying that it's late on a Sunday night tonight. Well, late for me here out here in the state of New England.
Oh, I'm never gonna live that down.
Yeah, I've been waiting a week to pull that one. So I just said to Scott.
Hey, no crickets this week, by the way.
Oh, that's right, no crickets. I did hear a dog earlier. I'm wondering if that one's gonna come out.
Maybe.
To that end, I go out on my deck this afternoon. Yesterday, I spent a couple hours power washing it, getting the winter grime and crap off of it and cleaning it all up, and it's all nice. And you're like, oh, okay, this is good. Go out there today, and there's all these tiny little wood chips and stuff all over the deck, little really really tiny little pieces. I'm like, oh man, I've got this tree that the deck is kind of built around. And the tree's got to be, I don't know, it's got to be 40 years old. It's huge and it's old. And I'm like, oh, is this thing dying? Is this so I'm out there, I'm reading a book, and I hear a bird, and I look up, and I see there's this bird that's diving into a hole in one of the branches, in one of the trunks leading up, and it's sticking its head out, shaking it, and these little pieces of wood are coming out. And I was like, son of a gun! I got a woodpecker up there that's burrowing a hole. So
awesome. We got birds on our patio that just laid a nest in we have an overhang, an aluminum overhang that's built off the house, not attached to the house, our patio, and it's got this little lip on the underside that runs along the outline, I guess, of the roof of the seat, whatever and so this bird built a nest in there. I was like, okay, good luck. And then today I just heard beep, 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 and there's two little birds just, it hatched eggs up there, man. And it's it can't be more than 2 inches wide and maybe 2 inches in depth. That did think build a nest in there and lay an egg. And I was like, I'm amazed, man. That's spring. Yeah. But you're going to probably get snow, and that woodpecker's going to freeze to death, and then you're going to have to clean up its carcass.
Dude, we had we had 65 degrees this weekend. I had the kids out in shorts and short sleeves, and now you're telling me that I've got winter blast coming back from Detroit. Awesome.
I'm sorry, man. Sorry. Welcome to the East Coast. Okay, we'll move on now because Jeff is tired and he has to get up early and go to work tomorrow. Oh wait, right. His work is in his basement. What are you complaining about?
I still have to get up.
This week's episode of The Americans was called Arpanet. And for those of you who are listening to this episode on Popdose on the internet, Arpanet is the grandfather of the internet. Is it not, Jeff?
That's right.
It is.
Although I didn't see that Al Gore, I didn't see Al Gore mentioned in there.
No, Al Gore did not invent the internet. He never said that he invented the internet. That's a lie. Who knows? He could have been one of those guys in that room.
That's true. He could have been.
He never said he invented the internet.
Okay.
This episode was written by Joshua Brand, who is also one of the executive producers on the show. Mr. Brand has a long history of television work. He worked on two of my favorite shows from when I was growing up. The first one he worked on was that awesome show called The White Shadow. Remember that show, Jeff?
Oh, yeah.
That show was so awesome. Oh, yeah. Coolidge, Salami, all those guys. And then he went on to help oversee and create St. Elsewhere, which is my favorite show of the 1980s. And he was part of that whole thing. St. Elsewhere, I don't know if you remember, but he would bring characters from other shows like Coolidge and Salami were both on St. Elsewhere.
Huh.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Cool.
And he also was a part of I'll Fly Away, which is a really awesome little show, and something called Northern Exposure, but I don't know what that is. Okay.
Northern Exposure. That was with
Yes, I know what Northern Exposure was. It was the dude from Numbers, Rob Morrow.
Yeah.
And that lady. What was her that lady?
Janine Turner.
Yes. And I think they both left at the very last two. I don't know.
Yeah.
Getting into this. But Joshua Brand wrote this episode. Thank you, Mr. Brand. It was a pretty awesome episode. Although there was a moment in this episode where I was watching, I'm like, oh, this is a very Mad Men kind of moment. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Okay. There's a moment in this episode where Henry is spying on his neighbor. And then later he goes to the neighbor's house and he, I guess technically he breaks in, but he knows where to keep the key. Remember the days when there weren't alarms? Remember the days when you could just tell your mom, I'm going out. Where are you going? Nowhere. Okay, be back by dinner. Henry pulls all of those. And he goes to the house, and I'm like, and then nothing comes of it. It's just like this little like throwaway scene. And I'm like, oh, that's a very Mad Men. Mad Men's full of things like that where you're not sure what's going on.
And it's funny you bring up Mad Men because what's today?
Sunday.
Yes, it's the debut of the final season.
I don't like that. I don't like that final season. Them splitting the final season. It's not, okay? You showed 7 episodes. This is a season, and then next year is the next season. If you want
AMC's thing, man.
I don't like it. You know, if let's say it was they showed these episodes in the winter and then they came back like in late spring, I would accept that. But not when I'm going to have to wait another year for the rest of these episodes. That's just they did that with Breaking Bad, and I didn't agree with it because there's too much time. That's not a season. This is a season, and they're going to release it on DVD or Blu-ray. It'll be the final. It'll be like the final season, part 1, and then they'll release the final episodes. It's like you just stop. Just stop.
Well, they got to do something to boost DVD sales. Come on.
Well, AMC Mad Men picked up because of Netflix. Same with Breaking Bad. So I'm not worried about DVD sales. I don't think. All right, I don't know why we got off a tangent. That's no way to get this done within an hour, Jeff. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that it was. I thought it was really interesting, Nina and the whole polygraph thing.
Nina and the polygraph thing, and that kind of went on for a while. Okay, so
I actually wanted. I kind of wanted. Watching this episode, I kind of wanted to name this. Maybe Rob will do it. Name this podcast episode "Squeeze Your Anus."
I wonder if that works.
Well,
do you think they showed
it works? But
do you think they showed her bare bottom because they talked about her anus in this episode? Have you noticed that only women have their bottoms exposed on this show? I've never seen a man. Not that I don't care, but where's the equal opportunity here? Why isn't Matthew Rhys lying on the bed face down while Carrie Russell's lying with her clothes?
Matthew Rhys probably doesn't do spin class and yoga.
Oh. So it's a valid point. I bet you know Emmerich doesn't. Oh, Oleg doesn't either.
Yeah.
Oh. Oleg has a name, doesn't he? We just looked it up. What's his name, Jeff?
Hey, well, since Alzheimer's has clearly kicked in, Costa Ronin.
I do know he was born in the Soviet Union.
Yeah, and born in '79 in Kaliningrad, USSR. And Scott and I were just talking that it would be interesting his would be an interesting interview about him growing up in Russia because he was born in '79. And then his take on, having grown up there, now having to relive that as an actor on the show, going through all of that. That would be an interesting interview.
That would be a cool interview.
We should do that.
Well, reach out to him, Bill. All
right. Go find him on Twitter. Go Twitter stalk him.
Yes, we'll Twitter stalk him. Dude, we want to interview you for our podcast. All right, so the show opens with Nina stressing about the lie detector. Nina does a lot of stressing in this episode. She's afraid that if she fails the lie detector, they're going to kill her, which they wouldn't. They would just take her prisoner. And, Nina, I continue to wonder about Nina. I really don't know who she's playing. I know she's playing Stan, but I always get this feeling that she's playing, her bosses too. So um, I don't know. She's got me baffled.
Yeah, me too. I kind of felt at the end of the episode because we've been saying for a couple weeks now that yeah, she definitely has a thing for Stan, and then at the end of the episode, I was like, yeah, we're foolish. She doesn't have a thing for Stan at all. So I don't know, man. I'm all over the place too.
Yeah, she's probably the one character that I don't know which side she's on, which is cool. Which is cool to be kind of going, huh? The interesting thing about that opening,
Nina's out. Nina's out for Nina. Nina's doing what Nina has to do to survive, and that's the only thing I can come away with this is that, she's just out for herself, making sure that nothing happens.
I do, yeah, I know she's crazy because, yeah, she's a lot smarter than I think any of us gave her credit for in the beginning of the series.
Oh, absolutely. And Oleg too. He what he says to her at the end really nails it on the head. He's like, "How have you come this far? You don't have training. All you have is your beauty and your wits. That's your armor." And he basically hits the nail on the head that she's, for all the training he's had, all the training that all the spies have and all that stuff, she's able to weave the gray area between all of that stuff and keep herself alive.
Yeah, she's a cool character. Yes, I think she's probably, at this point she's probably the one who's the best spy on the show in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other ones all have these other issues they're dealing with that are affecting their work.
Yeah, that's a good point. She doesn't. She doesn't have the baggage that always kind of gets in the way of her. She's able to compartmentalize when she's with the KGB, when she's with Stan.
Right.
She has her, her moments. I love when she was doing the polygraph. We're getting a little bit ahead, but when she did the polygraph and they said, "Do you know who killed what's his name? Her friend?" And she turns around, and she looks right at Stan, and she's like,
"Oh, that was
yes.
a great moment."
That was awesome.
He knows. It's like at that
with
moment,
the twitch, and he was like,
poor Stan. I'm starting to feel sorry for Stan, man. That dude is like, he just wanted to be a good soldier, and he's going down. We're watching the slow descent of this man. This decent
dude. Every time he gets on screen, Noah Emmerich should have like Everlast written on his forehead because he is just a punching bag from all sides.
Yeah, Vasil. That was the guy's name. Vasil.
Oh, okay.
Vasily died.
Yeah.
Vasily. The other interesting thing I found about this teaser was that Oleg is now pretty much in the inner circle there. Before there was this animosity between Arkady and Oleg, and now Oleg and Arkady are kind of like a team now. Somehow Oleg has proved his worth, and it's an interesting.
Well, I thought it was funny that she's in there saying, I'm going to die and all this stuff. And of course, like you said, yeah, the FBI, if they find out about it, they're just going to arrest her. They're not going to kill her. But, she's probably been, she's been drinking the Kool-Aid from the KGB, and that's what the KGB teaches is that, the Americans, they'll kill you, blah, blah, blah. But so she's in there and she says, well, am I going to be able to, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm going to be killed, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, you could beat a polygraph. Or Oleg says, yeah, you could beat a polygraph. And then she's like, really? You can do it? He goes, oh, yeah, I'll teach you the techniques. She's like, oh, okay. And she gets up and walks out, and Arcady looks at him and goes, can she do that? And Oleg's like,
possibility.
I guess we're going to...
It could.
We're going to find out.
It could be. Again, and after what we just said about Nina, I almost feel like, is she pulling along Khan and Oleg? Does she really think that? I don't know. She's pulling something. She impresses me.
Hey, guess what? I just did a quick look up here on Lev Gorn, who plays Arkady. He's basically our age. He was born in 1971 in Stavropol, USSR. And he was a character on The Wire.
I know the David Simon connection.
Eitan Ben Eliezer. I don't remember that one, but
they had the Russians probably season 2, I bet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, he was also in Brotherhood too.
uh,
Brotherhood was a good game. Was a good movie or a TV show.
yeah, that was a good show. With is that the one with the guy Jason Clarke?
Yep.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. Moving on to the teaser, Jeff continues to go off track. Jeff, you're the one who wanted to get done.
I'm the one who wanted to keep this to an hour. Jeez.
Phil and Kate meet. That's her name, right? Kate?
Yes.
And Kate, I keep getting this feeling that Kate has a thing for Philip. She just wants to please him so eagerly. She's so eager.
I do too. And the thing that I struck me with this is like she shows up and what's the first thing Philip says to her? Like, you look like a spy.
You look like a spy in an old movie.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, but the weather, because she had the little thing around her head.
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to snow.
And he's like, well, the weather's just, that's no excuse. But it was funny because the first time we see her, she's kind of like a bumbling, she kind of bumbles through it and is kind of like idolizes him, and she kind of fawns over him, and he's got no time for that. Just business and us. Then last episode, she seemed to have a hard edge to her, and she seemed to like really kind of be in this role as their handler, And I was like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. Now this episode, it's like she's back to being bumbling,
Last episode, was she with Elizabeth in the scene when she had that hard edge?
No, she was with Philip in the bar. Remember, she was the vodka.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. But she seems softer now.
Yeah,
hanging out with Philip in this bar on a rainy night. She loves a rainy night. She loves a rainy night. She loves to hear the thunder. Okay, and she's very apologetic. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry that you have to meet Larrick. He's a dangerous. And if it was up to me, it's like, well, it's not up to you. Cue the credits."
Philip just has no.
It's no patience.
And again, it was different from last week. The first time he meets her, he's got no patience for her. Last week, he's kind of brusque with her, but she's brusque back. And, he pushes, she pushes back. So there's kind of this little détente going. And then this episode, he's just got no time for her all over again.
Yeah. And the big thing about that meeting is that we were told that Philip has to go bug the Arpanet. And he's like, what? And it has to do with computers. Technology is not my strong suit. I mean, that's pretty much half the viewers, too.
Yeah.
I just watched that and I go, oh, no. How are they going to explain it so my feeble caveman brain can understand? And they did a good job.
I think they did a great job.
They did. And I'll let you handle that when we get to it. Did I say the episode was directed by Kevin Dowling?
You didn't, but you did now.
Okay.
What else has he done?
I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
I'll look it
up. Right? You've done this podcast thing before, right?
Hey!
Hey, can we talk about the size of a bug? Can we talk about the size of a bug? It was like, hey, here's your bug. You got to just attach this. That wasn't a bug, man. That was a Volkswagen. Good
Mr.
Lord.
Dowling has worked on Gilmore Girls, The District, Dead Like Me, Ed, Joan of Arcadia, Law and Order, Criminal Intent, CSI New York, and The Mentalist. And there you go. Those are just some of his work. All right. That's the size of the bug.
It was huge.
Well, did you see the computer? It was like,
Oh my gosh, that was like the HAL 9000.
It was.
Talking about the what do they call it? The alien upstairs.
Yeah.
That was
huge. God. It was God.
Oh God, you're right, God.
So that's the end of this kind of sets up. The episode is really about Nina getting this lie detector test, and Philip having to sneak in and bug the Arpanet imp. It's a interface message processor, which we'll get to later. And the rest of the
imp.
We have our name. The rest of the episode was kind of just, it wasn't filler, but it was just kind of other elements to move the plot, the series along. But it opens with Henry acting as a little spy, utilizing that telescope that his parents got him that he didn't want. And did you notice the lonesome music they're playing underneath Henry? Poor Henry. He's as lonely as Stan. He's staring out his neighbors going on a vacation. And later on, for no reason, he breaks into their house and plays in television.
And when he first is looking out the window, looking through the telescope, I was like, oh, he's just look, the family's getting together and they're going out and doing an outing. And I thought that was kind of what he was being forlorn about. And then later on, when he's like, all right, Mom, I'm going outside. He had the basketball in his hand, right? And
hockey stick.
Oh, hockey stick. And she said, all
right,
just be home in time for dinner.
Yeah.
It went through my head. It was like, wouldn't it be funny if he's going across the street to go play in television?
You didn't say that. You did.
I did. I swear I did.
Wow.
I was just hypothesizing.
I have to be honest. I was hoping that he was staring out the window at his cute neighbor girl.
Really? Well,
he's that age, you know. What else do you do with a telescope?
Oh, that's the Nicholas Sparks in you.
Oh, dear. Okay. In addition to...
Notice I got a rebuttal.
Yes, you do. You're great. Jeff can't see me this week because my stupid Skype doesn't work.
And it's probably good because you're probably like reading out the video. You know?
No. Elsewhere... Elsewhere, Stan is getting played so badly by Nina. It's just...
Oh, you got to feel sorry for him.
He's falling in love with this woman. She is playing him, and it's just... Oh, Stan. It's kind of pathetic. It's kind of sad. His bosses don't like him. His wife and his kid don't respect him.
He's such a sad sack.
He's become... Remember when he was... And it's all because he killed that one guy who was going to assassinate someone. Ever since then, he's become a sad sack.
Yeah.
I mean, he was pretty badass in that episode, you know? He tracked that guy and all that stuff, and now his career's going down the toilet. Yeah. Okay. Phil recruits our friend Charles, the reporter, who we remember from earlier in the season. There was a ding there. What was that, Jeff?
Oh, somebody sending me an email.
Oh. Do you need to answer it?
No.
Is it
podcasting?
What if it's Olag saying, I want to do an interview?
I haven't tweeted him yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were doing that while we were talking. Well, I was going off on a tangent about Joshua Brand and the many things that he's done.
I was checking your work.
They recruit Charles, the reporter, and that again, it's just setting up stuff. They really built this tension. Like, this is a big moment. Philip's breaking into someone's apartment. Oh my God, what's going to happen? He's going to kill someone. He's going to do something. And no, he's just throwing cold water on a drunk reporter, who we'll find out plays an important part in the rest of the episode. And then we move on. I mean, this episode kind of the pacing is really fast. Elizabeth meets with Lucia, who's played by Jeff. Remember her name? Because I do. Amy Carrero.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's who plays Lucia. They're having this kind of cool conversation, which, again, I don't know if Elizabeth's telling the truth, but she sure seems honest when she says that her father was a coal miner. That was kind of a heartfelt thing. It feels like Elizabeth is connecting with Lucia, but then later I don't think she's too happy with her. And Lucia talks about her reasons for getting behind the cause. Her father was a reporter. He was killed for obviously reporting against the government, and his newspaper was shuttered, and there was never a body found. So Lucia has taken up arms to bring down the government in Nicaragua.
But she wants... So the plan is that they're going to get her into the training camp that the SEALs are using, and then... But Lucia tips her hand when she's like, okay, but where's Larrick going to be?
Yeah, where's Larrick going to be?
He'll be in this building here. And it's, as soon as she says that, you know that Lucia's not in this for the cause. She's in this to take out Larrick.
Well, I didn't think she played her hand that much. You thought that?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
You are so intuitive this week. I'm really impressed, Jeff.
I mean, my Wheaties.
You got the Intellivision, and then you got the hand tipping.
Yeah.
Wow. We find out that what?
One of these weeks goes my way. I mean, I sit here, I make predictions all the time. I'm like,
great.
Yeah, I was way off.
You should write for the show.
Oh, I should.
You should write a spec script and send it to him.
I should.
Okay.
That's an idea.
You could have a whole episode dealing with the Coast Guard and Russians trying to get through the state of New England. And the Coast Guard has to run them off. Okay, I know it's not the state of New England, everybody, okay? I made a mistake. It was tired. I was tired.
Yeah, Scott was tired at 9 o'clock his time and midnight my time, so.
Did I tell you what Jeff does for a living? He writes in his basement. He makes his own hours.
I do.
Okay. Going to bed.
Right.
That's not a problem for Jeff. Okay, Lucia. It turns out that she went to see a lecture of Lyric, and Philip shows up at this diner, and he's like, "You went to see him? Did he see you?" And she's like, "I was just a face in the crowd." And like, "What did he say?" And I'm sounding just like them, aren't I? And she says, "Nicaragua is the spear point of Soviet domination in South America." Is that why we got involved in Nicaragua? That was why that was that whole deal, wasn't it? Yep.
Oliver North and all of the the Iranian or the Contra affair, Iran-Contra affair, and yep.
So we're coming up on that. We're not there yet, though, are we? I mean, that's not until
not yet. Not yet.
What year did that happen, Joe? Iran-Contra. Was that 80? Was it 85 or 86?
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking 85. Well, let's see who's right. Go ahead, keep talking. I'll look it up.
Okay, well,
hey, do you remember the video game Contra?
No.
Oh,
was it
awesome.
Trying to sell stuff to Contras? Or
No, it was a guy like running along like shooting Russians, actually stealing helicopters, and 85 to 87, August 20th, 85 to March 4th of 87.
So that's when they were doing it. So.
Yep.
Oh wow, that's crazy. So we still got a few years for that to happen. For the government to get away with it, basically.
Yep.
Awesome. They have this elaborate plan to get into the training camp, and they have an elaborate plan that she'll cut the wire and they'll get through and then under the barbed wire fence and all this stuff. All standard espionage type.
And Lucia just shows kind of her naivete when she's like, "Well, why don't we just go in the trunk? I mean, it's what we do in Nicaragua."
Yeah, and I wanted Elizabeth to say, "Look, we're not sneaking into a drive-in. We're sneaking into a secret base camp."
That's right.
Check the trunks.
That's right. That only happens in our screenplays.
Didn't you sneak into a drive-in ever?
No. I can honestly say no. I can honestly say, growing up in Cleveland, I'm gonna lay it on you. You ready? I've never seen a movie in a drive-in.
What?
This is true.
We have a drive-in. We had a drive-in. That place is still open.
Is it really?
Yeah. They just. I'm Facebook friends with them. Well, I like them on Facebook. I guess I'm a friend. They just got the digital projectors. They're in for the long haul, dude. I can't believe you never went. Oh my God, that drive-in.
Only time as a kid growing up I ever went to a drive-in was Saturday morning flea markets with my family. It was a thing we did.
You don't know what you missed, man. I mean, half of it was you got out of your car and you just walked around. Just a group of kids. What you see in Greece, that's kind of it,
Yeah.
It's awesome.
No, never had that.
Except the singing. You don't sing, Sandy. Well, I did.
You did.
I was Sandy, baby, why? Oh, we're breaking out all the hits tonight. Okay.
Hey, did you see in this diner scene? Did you think that Philip was a little bit? Again, he's just a little bit more little brusque with Lucia. Like he's just really annoyed with everybody. Like he was annoyed with Kate earlier. Yeah, and he's tweaked about Lucia. About, well, did you see him? When she says that she saw him speak at lecture, did he see you? And just the way he was, I was like, dude, you need to switch to decaf for a little bit, because.
Well, I think that what my feeling is that, and you saw a little bit of this with Elizabeth with when Lucia and her are jogging, and Lucia grabs her arm, and Elizabeth just gives her that icy look. Yeah. This kind of sense of entitlement.
Get your hands off of me.
Yeah, the younger generation, like they're working with the next generation below them.
That's a good point.
And it's basically, listen, old timer. They're already being thought of as old timers.
That's a good point.
Kind of like how Oleg was with the Arcady until they kind of figured out how to work. together. This is the same thing. It really is. I think that. Do you hear the water in the background? I hope that's recording. That's what I really. Sorry. Anyway, that's the feeling that I'm getting is that he's looking at them as being non-professional. Not up. They're not. The two. What's the word that she used to describe Lucia? What did she say? Sorry. Impetuous. Very impetuous people. Kate's that way. Doesn't know how to be a handler. Lucia is just like, look, there's a way we do things, and you have to do it. She's like, no, I'm going to kill him now. So that's kind of what I feel like Philip is doing. Plus, I still think the events of that of the last episode, was the last episode the one with the guy in the he held hostage for the whole episode until he traded him on the plane.
The Mossad agent? No, that was 2 ago.
2 ago. I still think he's feeling the effects of that. To be honest with you,
yeah.
And that everything that's going on, I feel like that's a factor in what's going on with Philip. So, okay, well, we've set up this something. I don't know if we're ever going to see this because whether this plan will work or not to sneak into that camp. I don't know how they're going to figure that out because later on we learn that Larrick's not going to the camp. He's just heading right down to Nicaragua to mate butterflies.
And let's just go back to Lucia for a second. So the forward part, going forward in Act 3, I believe it was, when she has the hand on, when she's out running with Elizabeth and puts a hand on her, and she's like, oh no, I'm going there. I'm going there to kill Larrick, and she just basically lays out what her plan is and what her priority is. And then Elizabeth meets with Philip and is like, yeah, we got a problem, with Lucia.
She runs hot.
And yeah, that's right. She runs hot, and I just don't see that there's Lucia's going to be a monkey wrench in the plan that they have for Larrick. So I don't see a good end coming out for Lucia.
I think Lucia's motives are revenge and revenge alone. And
right.
Yeah, I think she's a little more ruthless than we thought,
Yeah.
We saw it last week. She seemed to love that dude, but she didn't have a problem killing him. So.
Yeah, I mean, we think Nina loves Stan too, and you know how that turns. So.
Yeah. And here we go, Nina again. After this meeting with Lucia, we got Nina again, and the flirtation between Oleg and Nina begins. You trust me? No. And he's like, good.
Good.
I have this Russian accent. I sound just like Count Chocula. Okay, that's Transylvania. I'm sorry. I apologize to all Russians. Oleg knows a lot about lie detectors, even though he didn't seem to convinced that she would be able to lie her way through it. He certainly knows a lot about lie detectors and how they work, and so he starts putting Nina through the test. And we can get through this episode in an hour because the events are lie detector, Phil, lie detector, Phil. Because next up is Phil and Philip. First we see that the offices of the travel agency get nice spruced up, aren't they? They get a nice new coat of paint with eggshell or a cream. Are those the two colors?
Yeah, and he's like, which one do you want? You want eggshell or cream? She's like, what's the difference? And he's like, the color.
There's something. I wonder what's going on with them suddenly changing the look of the place. I don't know. I'm always curious if there's. Do they have Russians that come in and paint? Do they?
I was gonna say because otherwise, is somebody gonna are they gonna find a bug in there? I bet you there's a bug in the cuckoo clock. Because remember the cuckoo clock from.
Oh, my grandmother has a cuckoo clock just like.
Exactly.
Well, why would Stan bug his friends? Thought he trusted him.
I don't know.
Oh man, Stan, I'm really losing faith in Stan.
So they go to meet with Larrick, and they divvy up duties. And Elizabeth's like, "I'll meet with him because you're the better shot." So they go to meet with Lyric, and it was funny because when Lyric shows up, she's sitting on the bench there, and we see her sitting on a bench in an open courtyard area, and then we cut to Philip up in a belfry somewhere, the upper architecture, like on a church.
What is a belfry?
I don't know where bats go.
Oh, okay.
That's where bells are. It's where the bell is. It's a belfry.
He wasn't on. He was like on a balcony, not a real.
No, I know. It's like whatever you call that thing in architecture with all those little open crenellations and stuff on a.
Crenellations?
Yeah.
Is that a real word?
It is.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So he's up there with a rifle, and as Lyric comes walking up, sits down, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm like you said, I'm not going to Nicaragua, or I'm not going to training camp. Going to Nicaragua, and we're going to basically the gist of it is they're going to mine Managua Harbor."
Right.
And he's like, looks at her and he says, "Did you come alone?" And she doesn't say anything, and he just kind of looks around. I had made a note when he comes to sit down. I'm like, there's no way Lyric thinks that. There's no way. I'm going to put a couple double negatives in here. There's no way he doesn't think that there's not a rifle on him.
Yeah,
and
he's
sure
a pretty
enough,
smart dude.
Exactly. You don't get to be, a captain in the SEALs without knowing some things. And he looks around, and he kind of figures, yep, up there is probably where I'd put my guy. And it seems like, and then we're looking through Philip's scope at him, and Lyric's looking back at us. Whether or not he's actually sees Philip, we don't know, but he's pretty much got it zeroed where it is. And then he just gets up and walks away.
Well, I gotta tell you, Lee Tergesen plays that character so freaking scary.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
Even when he gets up to walk away, there's that moment he brushes by her that you get the feeling, she even senses it. Elizabeth even senses it, like, he could kill me right now,
right,
and get away. Because I think he has already read the situation between. He may have even already know that, like, Philip, has a thing for Elizabeth or whatever. But he could do something. He could have easily, quickly done something that would have stabbed her in the jugular with a pen and walked away casually while she's bleeding, and Philip would have reacted like, "Holy crap, she's bleeding!" And she sensed it. He was so close to her, he was invading her personal space that it was crazy. He's a freaky, scary character.
Yeah. And there's no grandstanding. There's no I'm going to do this. There's no being your typical summer blockbuster Navy SEAL. This guy is just he's quietly menacing. I mean, menace just exudes from him.
And he is so well. I mean, he's gay. He's closeted gay, which he couldn't be out in the military back then. So he is used to keeping secrets and keeping things close to the vest.
Yeah.
And controlling situations. And so he's finding ways to control this situation that he's in. It's interesting. And Lee Tergesen, man, he's great in that role.
Yeah.
He's freaking me out. And I think that one of the things that Elizabeth says before they go to the meeting, it's a great line. He says, before they go to meet, Philip's like, she says, keeping a tiger's head is still a tiger. And later on, when she's talking to Lucia, and she says, you can't kill him. And she's like, he's a monster. And Elizabeth says, he's a monster, but he's our monster. Right. And it's like, I almost feel like Lyric knows he's badass like that. He knows that he's a crazy, scary guy, and he's I feel like he's totally in control of the situation.
Yep.
Okay. We kind of jumped around there with the Lyric thing, but that's okay. Philip goes undercover, and we see him as a reporter, and he goes to meet with a guy named Professor Rosenblum, played by Jeffrey Cantor, who's an actor that we just looked up his name, so let's not try to pretend we're smart. Professor
man, why you gotta show the man behind the curtain? Why can't we just come out just like the Wizards of Oz and just go, yeah, it's Jeffrey Cantor, and I remember him from
What do you remember from, Jeff?
I don't know. What did I tell you 10 minutes ago?
Jeffrey Cantor is awesome in the role of Professor Rosenblum.
Yeah, I really liked him.
He the guy. It's Charles and Philip in the sky sitting here, and they're asking about
Philip
Arpanet.
and hold on a second. Philip had the most ridiculous costume yet. He looked like an
That
early
wig.
Gene Shalit.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be talking to you about. I'm writing a report about technology.
Oh my lord, he could not have looked dorkier.
It was awesome, though, because, and then Rosenblum, he just goes off and explains the internet, or what Arpanet is, which is the precursor to the internet. And I love some of the things he said. A handshake that introduces distant computers to each other in virtual space. And I love that because that's it. That is introduces, and keeping information moving on an information highway to the future. I love all these things, and in between all that, there's a lot of technical speak that just kind of like I watched it twice. The second time through, it was a little clearer. The post office in Japan and all the different languages speaking.
Yeah, and I thought that was a really good way of explaining it. I mean, think about it. Today we take the internet for granted, and I know I throw a fit if I click on Google and it doesn't come up inside of 3 seconds. But like back then, this is stuff that our kids grow up with, and Google just is. And back then, that was a massive sea change that was about to happen.
Yeah.
Especially the thing that he says at the time. It says in this interview when I think Charles asked him, he says, "What does the military use?" Oh, the military, and then Rosenblum says military and the civilians. For right now, they're using the same
scientists.
Yeah, the scientists and the military. They're using the same. They're using the same thing.
Yeah.
So you're seeing the birth of the internet and all that. We saw it a couple episodes ago with the new that new computer that the FBI has, putting all the data on the computer, and it's just, what is this? This is just.
Is this the Commodore 64?
Oh, the Commodore 64.
Did you have one of those?
I did not. I didn't have a computer. My first computer wasn't until college.
Same here. And I didn't have my own personal computer until after college, and somebody gave it to me. It wasn't until I didn't get it. My wife and I didn't get a computer until '97. We got our first computer.
Wow.
Yeah,
my first computer at the Coast Guard Academy was a Mac Plus.
Ooh,
rocking it. And
was the screen was about 9 inches.
It was. I think my iPad might be a bigger screen than that was.
I think they are. Yeah.
Had the dot matrix printer. I mean, I wasn't one of the cadets who had extra cash to get one of the laser printers. That was just.
Those were super expensive back then.
They were retarded expensive. I remember the hard drive that you had to get. I bought a hard drive that was like $400 for
10 megabytes.
If that. My first computer, I think after college, was probably something I got refurbished from Gateway.
Nice. Gateway.
Holy cow.
They still exist somewhere. Believe it or not, I think my daughter has a Gateway netbook. Yes, I bought her a netbook. Probably 6 months before tablets came out. Like, this has no purpose whatsoever.
Props a door open. Awesome, though.
Yeah, she still uses it. Never. I took it to Korea with me last year, so I could email. Oh boy. Okay. Then we got more training. The speech thing with the professor I thought was pretty awesome because it was a combination of common language with enough techno speak to really sell that this was a real deal. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. That was a good scene. I liked it.
Yeah.
And notice that Charles left his glasses on the desk. Did
you catch it when he does it?
I did. I was observing, saying, "Hey, what's he put his glasses?" It was very subtle. The camera was moving away from him, so they did it very quickly and subtly, and I liked it because it wasn't like dun dun dun, close up of the hand on the desk. It was just like, do it while we're moving the camera, and if people catch it, great. If not, they're there, and he's going to come back later for it.
And that was it, yeah, and that was the scene when that happened. I saw him like lean forward, put the glasses down, and like you said, it was very subtle, and I caught it. But then they didn't linger on the glasses; they didn't go back to the glasses or anything. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's just kind of a thing. So I didn't figure that he'd have to go back to the office. I didn't make that.
Well, enough happened between that scene and when he had to go back that I kind of forgot about it. I was like,
yeah,
because they didn't do that. They didn't make a big deal. He puts the glasses down. I thought, oh, he's putting glasses down. Then the scene went on, and they never came back to those glasses. So it was just like, oh, he put the glasses down. So, I liked it. The next scene after that was a very cool scene as well, where Nina and Oleg are talking, and Nina's again panicking. I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm going to die. They're going to shoot me. I'm like, no, honey, they're not going to shoot you. You're too pretty.
Far too pretty. And he says the best line of the episode.
The wasp speech?
The what?
What does he say? Oh, the anus line. No, I was going to talk about him talking about the wasp. I thought that was a really smart little piece of advice.
That was.
I thought that you're nodding your head. I can see you looking at me at a blank screen going, no, that wasn't Scott. No.
No, it was. It was a good story. I was actually, for some reason, I was out today working in the yard, and somehow, for some reason, I thought of why Cleopatra got bit by the viper.
Why did she get bit by the viper, Jeff?
Because she moved.
That's right. That was a great speech, and then I like.
He's very smooth. Oleg is very smooth.
He is, and it's funny because he came on. He was kind of goofy when he came on with the loose tie. And he was listening to the '80s music on his headphones, and now he's really proved himself. I think he's.
I think he's genuinely smooth too. Like this isn't like I'm not getting a vibe that he's just doing this because he just wants to, sleep with her.
No, he does want to sleep with her.
Well, he does that, but it's a genuine vibe that he wants to help her out and that he's, yeah.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he genuinely admires her. As we saw a few episodes back, where he said, "I've read your files and I know what's going on," and you are, he does admire her for her bravery.
So he tells her the story, and then he tells her. This is the part where he tells her to. Did he tell her to look? Oh no, it's later. He says. Oh no, he tells her find a spot in the room. Do you know where the interrogation?
That's later. Yeah, that's later. Yeah, but at this point, he tells her, "You must not move inside. You must lie to." She's like, "I must lie to myself." And he says, "You must lie to tell a greater truth for the greater cause." And
then squeeze your anus.
And squeeze your anus, yeah. And this is all kind of squeeze your anus. It works. She's able to squeeze her anus and lie. It's awesome. Yeah. Congratulations, Nina. And everybody, if you want to lie in a lie detector test, just squeeze your anus.
Squeeze your anus.
And imagine a wasp on your arm.
Now, I had read once upon a time that I was reading about how to beat polygraphs years ago.
Why would you have to know that, Jeff? Did you have to take a lie detector?
For reasons I cannot confirm nor deny.
Have you taken a lie detector one?
I'll just call it research.
Have you really done a polygraph test?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. You had me going there. I thought you'd done that.
No. But the thing I read was that, and the things that I looked into, they said that if you can't establish a baseline, so the questions they ask you, is this your name? Do you live here? Do you do this for a living? Those are all just baseline questions that they're asking just so that they can figure out what normal is. Right. But if you can give them a skewed baseline so they can't tell what normal is, then basically they can't run a test on you. So if they say, is your name Scott Malkus? And you're like, yes, and the thing is just going haywire, then they're like, okay, this guy's got to calm down. And another thing one of the things they had said was that put like a rock in your shoe.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah, when they're about to ask you a question,
jam down on the rock.
Jam down on the rock, and then you get a physiological response, and then it kind of like skews the So it can be beaten, but I've also read from people who've administered it that it's very hard. It's very hard to do. What Oleg told her, basically, if you and that the way to beat it is that you have to believe the lie, deceive yourself. If you believe what you're saying, that's the only way you can beat it.
Right. Well,
you have to be really sociopathic.
So, I don't like Nina as much anymore. She's a sociopath.
Well, not really sociopathic, but
you just said she had to be sociopath.
Kind of sociopathic.
Oh, okay. Well, then I like her again. Okay. Well, we've kind
then we go into commercial. Hold on, I just got to make a commercial. I made a note about the commercial.
Oh yeah,
the
Fargo commercial.
No, that looks good. I'm actually looking forward to that. No, the Draft Day trailer. Did you see Draft Day?
I haven't seen the movie, but I saw the trailer. Cleveland Browns, baby.
Draft Day. I didn't say to see the movie. I meant the trailer. Yeah, it looks like Trouble with the Curve meets Moneyball.
I heard it is very much more like Moneyball than anything else. I've heard totally people that have seen that movie that the marketing for it is totally screwed up. But this movie is Moneyball.
Really?
And they play it off like it's a romantic comedy, goofy sports movie. Yeah. But I think from what I've read, this is closer to Moneyball. That script was on the blacklist for a while too. So it was a highly regarded script. So I think, and I've read actually some really decent reviews of it. Interesting enough.
Huh?
Not interesting. I mean, I guess that's not that interesting. I'll move on now. And Fargo, saw the Fargo commercial, and that Legit show. What is that? Legit? I don't know.
It's a comedy. It's kind of like along the lines of Louis C.K., but not nearly as good.
Louis coming back, baby.
Yeah,
Louis back.
Louis.
Oh, this is one of those podcasts, folks. Okay. I mean,
all right. So we talked about.
We talked about the meeting with Lyric and how that we talked about that. We talked about the.
I thought it was funny how Oleg was okay. So the next piece again. This whole episode is about Nina beating the polygraph.
Yes.
And Oleg talks to her about, do you visualize the room that you're going to be in? Find a spot. Think of it in your head. Think of a spot. And so she's like, oh, "Okay, I've got a spot."
And he starts singing Michael Jackson to her.
Yeah. Really?
I'll be there. I'll be there. When you want to lie on your polygraph, I'll be there. Is that how it goes?
Yes, I think so. At least the American version.
No, in Russian. That's the Russian version. Because Oleg's singing, because he's Russian.
Yeah.
His name is Oleg, and it's the Russian.
Right.
Character.
Russian. Okay. I thought it was funny that he talks about how he likes Negro churches and gospel.
Yes, that was his term. He used the word Negro and
Aretha
Franklin and gospel music, and maybe he's gonna turn. He's gonna go. I'm staying in America. He's gonna go see Rocky IV and go living in America. Yeah, that's me, James Brown. Okay. Oh, Rob's gonna kill me. All the music in this episode.
Well, you've got to mention. All right, so we talked about the next part is Elizabeth and Lucia. We talked about that. But what about when we're at the house and Philip's got the Camaro ad and he shows it to Henry
before he goes to play television?
What's the song? What's the song that Philip is singing there? Oh my gosh!
No, I don't know, man.
Oh, I totally didn't look it up because I was like, Scott's all over.
No, I forgot.
Oh my.
Sorry.
We just lost 2 of the 3 listeners that we had.
Come back! I'll find out what the song is and I'll sing it next week. Come back, baby! Won't you come back? Sorry, I'm mixing up my Paul Young and Jay Giles band. Well, yes, and Philip is like, look at this Camaro. This is awesome. And as we saw in the preview for next week, Philip is like, this is going to be kind of cool. We could buy a car.
I think next week's episode is the car.
New Car is what it's called.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Maybe we'll play some Gary Newman.
And what would that be?
Cars. Gary Newman. Here in my car. That's Gary Newman. Sorry.
I'm just cars. I think Rick Ocasek.
Rick Ocasek, who I used to look like. I'm just trying to impress our two listeners. Well, as we've talked about earlier before the podcast began, I'm a little paunchy now. I've put on a little weight that I can't seem to lose. I don't know what to do about that. I'm starting to look like Charles. More Charles and less Philip. Okay. Oh, Jeff's supposed to be the one that's kind of punchy because he's the one who's. It's 11:30 where he's at. It's 8:30 my time. Okay, so now the plan takes place with Charles and Philip. This is the rest of the episode, really. The mission is for Charles to sneak back in. Now, then I love this. That Charles comes back to the university admission, not the security desk. It's a security desk. It's like, Oh, hi, I left my glasses in Professor Rosenblum's office. Can I go get them? Sure. Here's the key. Go take it to this top secret floor and get your glasses, and be sure to bring it back to me when you come back.
Oh, now come on. That's not entirely true. The guy did check to see, oh, you were in here earlier? He looked at the schedule. He's like, oh, this is you earlier with
your ID.
Young Gene Shalit? Oh, sure. Here's the key. Go.
Oh, you're a respected reporter for the yeah.
Right.
And so Charles goes and he gets into the office and he's flipping around through the desk and he's looking for the passcode word and it's just left in the desk because we all do it. Let's not lie. We write passwords on pieces of paper and throw them in our office desk drawers because we know that's where we're going to find them. And of course that's what the professor does. And of course, why wouldn't he do that? The whole idea of a keypad's a new idea, right? So, Charles is an idiot and writes it on his hand, and he's so nervous that he sweats it off.
And what did he write it with? That's right, one of those 4-barrel pens.
Oh, was it? The nurse pen? That the nurses use those with the 4 different colors?
Remember we had those back in, what year is this? High school, junior high, whatever?
This would have been in Chestnut. This would have been taken in Chestnut.
Oh, we definitely had them there.
My mom was a nurse, and I didn't realize until I was like 3 years ago. So I was in my 40s. I'm like,
you didn't realize until 3 years ago your mother was a nurse?
Okay. Jeff is on tonight. Ba-dum boats. My mom always had those pens, and they're made by Bic. They've got the white barrel with the blue top, and they've got 4 different options. You can do a green, a red, a blue, and a black. And they've got 4 inks, and they all come down at once. And I always thought that was the most.
Well, they don't all come down at once. You kind of.
Oh right, jeez, oh man, I gotta fix my web camera. Anyway,
just keeping you honest, man.
Okay, so one would come.
Oh, you gotta fix your web camera so I can see the finger, right?
Yes, I'm giving you it right now. And so, I didn't realize that when nurses, there's a handy pen to have for nurses because you have to write different notes for different things on the charts and stuff like that. You would write start in black, and then you do a checkup on blue, and then on red and green, and you have the 4 different things. It seemed to me that would be the most practical those pens would be most practical for medical community. I can't see. Well, obviously, engineers use them too, as we saw in this episode.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense because if he used a ballpoint on his hand, why did it smear so much?
Because he was sweating.
Man, he must have been.
Come on, you remember those days where you met back in the Chestnut days and like, hey, girlfriend, give me your number. And you write it down in your hand. You're like so nervous. You get home, you're like, I can't wait to call. And then,
Jeff, how many girls did you call in 7th grade? Be honest. The Chestnut days.
I called a couple.
I called 0. 0. I'm sorry, I was a loser.
No, I was just more proactive.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
It didn't do anything.
What were the name of those girls that you called? I'm interested. Initials. Just initials. Oh, okay. Because I'm going to go pull out my old Chestnut yearbook. Jeff and I went to I don't understand why when we were in 7th grade, they shipped us all from our elementary schools to another elementary school, which was a full elementary school. There was still first, fifth, there was still 1 through 6 in that school, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And 7th grade.
Because we were part of the advanced study program.
No, but there were 7th graders that weren't in that, because all of my school's 7th grade went to Chestnut.
Right, but all of us, they had to put all of us freaks together.
No, but not advanced study went to Chestnut. I'm saying the people that weren't in advanced study went to Chestnut as well.
Right, exactly.
So they shipped 4 different schools. Why didn't they just keep us in our old school for another year then? Sorry.
It's a mystery we'll never solve.
I'm sorry. Jesus. Okay, so
Scott's clearly scarred from the experience.
I'm not scarred. Kissed my first girl in 7th grade. That's another story for another time. There's the game of spin the bottle. Oh yeah. Anyway,
spin the bottle on the Goldbergs this week or last week.
Oh yeah, your favorite show.
Love that show.
I know you do. This is a weird podcast.
It is every week. Every week it's something new and fresh. And...
It's because there wasn't a tug going on. I mean, okay. So
tugboat
going on. This episode was like, it was just this weird. I'm sorry. Okay, so
Words together, make a sentence.
Charles meets up with Philip, and Philip is disguised again as the long-haired hippie dude with the mustache. Only this time, the long-haired hippie dude with the mustache is a janitor. He has a trash can, which apparently he's keeping the bug in, and he's got all this stuff. Charles is supposed to get the keypad, and he forgets it. It's all smeared. But another problem with what their plan is, they didn't anticipate that all of these guys who are the computer engineers, he didn't anticipate that they don't have lives. And so they're still in the computer lab at 9 o'clock at night, working on, I don't know, solving the meaning of 2001 on their blackboard.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you see that blackboard?
Blackboard was crazy cool.
It was very cool. It was like that blackboard paint that you can buy.
Yeah, and they're just writing all over the room. I was like, that's cool. So Philip's like, we got to get those guys out of there. I was like, Charles was like, I don't know how we're going to do that. I'm too drunk. He's like, you're a drunk. I was like, I'm not a drunk. I'm fine. I'm just excited. And so Philip's like, stay here. And then he goes downstairs. He throws a bunch of alarms. And now here's a question: how the heck did they get the keys, man? They got keys to everything. I mean, it's crazy. And why did Charles have to do the whole sneaking around thing? Why couldn't Philip disguise the janitor just go in the office?
That I thought of that too. That was a good point too.
And why did they have to do it at that time of night? Why couldn't they wait until those guys went? All right, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to find a flaw.
Question.
Not trying to find flaws, but it's a little bit of a plot thing there. Sorry. Found it. So he flips the alarms, everybody leaves, gets the alarm. Charles manages to remember the correct code. Philip goes in there, he opens up the imp, and he's got this thing the size of, one of my boom boxes when I was growing up, and attaches that to the processor, and it takes 30 seconds to download all the information once it's... Now that, to me, seemed a little quick.
Yeah.
I mean, I just knowing... Just based on our conversation about our old computers, I know that one of my computers, when I used to have to turn it on, I could go brew 8 cups of coffee, a full pot, before the processor had gotten to the point where I could start working on it. So that bug must be high tech. It only takes 30 seconds to download.
Yeah.
But anyway, in those 30 seconds, some poor idiot, well, I guess he wasn't an idiot because he's working in a computer lab. So I take that back. Some poor guy who forgot his wallet comes in and notices that the imp door is open, and he decides to check on it, and he finds the bug, and then he closes the door to go tell someone, and I hear you sniffling. That's right. The poor guy's going to get it. Right? It was sad. It was like, I mean, that guy's an innocent. And we just see long-haired hippie dude with the mustache, Philip, looking right at him. And the next thing you see is Philip pushing that garbage can.
Yeah, that's
much heavier.
Yeah, he's straining to push it. So you know that the student is in the garbage can.
Yeah, and once again, I think that's gonna kind of hit hard. I think that killing an innocent.
Yeah, that definitely affected him, because when they get to the bar afterwards, when he debriefs with or meets up with Charles in the bar, and Charles is like, "Man, that was such a rush. That was just that was great. We should do this more often." And Philip is like, "Yeah, I had to kill a guy, and for what?" And Charles just kind of passes up. Well, you got to do what you got to do.
And Charles is like, "You're so good at it." It's like, oh, that's the worst thing to say to somebody. You're so good at killing people. What's your problem? You do it all the time. It doesn't hurt your soul. What are you, big baby? And then I love that Philip accuses Charles of drinking vodka and cranberry juice, and Charles tries to play the old game. It's like, taste it. Go ahead and taste it. He challenges him as a trust thing, and not thinking that when he leaves there, Philip is still going to challenge.
Right, and he's like, it's cranberry juice and seltzer.
Yeah.
Here, try it. And Philip's like, no. He goes, no, try it, seriously. He puts it in front of him, and you can kind of see that he's like, and then when Charles leaves, then he looks at the bartender. Bartender's like, hey, can I get you anything? And Philip says, yeah, I'll have what he had. So the bartender pours cranberry juice, tops off with some seltzer, and you see the look on
Philip's face. It wasn't seltzer. It was vodka.
No. But he puts a splash of like seltzer in first, and then he puts vodka on top.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it was seltzer, because he said it was cranberry and seltzer. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but anyway. But the thing is that when he sees the bartender which is a bad bartender, because you're supposed to put the alcohol first and then the thing on top. I speak from experience, but still.
When were you a bartender?
I've been a bartender. Had been a bartender through. I did it as an extra job when I was in the military, and I did it when I was in chiropractic school.
The things I learn about Jeff as these podcasts continue.
Scott learns about me on a podcast.
I love it. Because I have, my life's pretty straightforward. Jeff's like, yeah, I was a bartender. I was a ninja. I was a black ops assassin for a while. Then I became a chiropractor. Decided to put all the neck cracking into use. I'm sorry. I keep anticipating some deep, dark secret of Jeff coming out, and I'm getting a knock on my door someday. Jeff Marsick. Well, yeah, we do a podcast together, dude. We write scripts together.
We know. We heard the podcast. He said something he shouldn't have. And now you have to die.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay, well, before you kill me, I need to call my wife, and I keep the phone in my car, in the glove box. So
and the only way I can open the glove box is if I turn the engine on and I rev the engine a little bit, get some RPMs.
So I'm just going to go get my phone, which is in the Blues Brothers, the greatest movie ever.
But in this scene, when the bartender pours the cranberry juice, you kind of see this look on Philip's face, almost chagrined, like, maybe my impression of people is off after all. And then what's the bartender do? Reaches over, grabs the vodka, puts a little vodka top, and Philip's just kind of like, yeah, I knew it.
Knew it. And the episode ends with another shot of Nina's bare bottom.
Which we're big fans of.
Not complaining. But I do think that should be fair play, man. Come on now. Oleg's in bed there. I don't want to see that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't. But Oleg and Nina are getting it on. They're having a fling now. Nina is she's a crazy kitty.
Yeah, she's an interesting character, definitely.
And she, it's funny because she almost felt like a throwaway character when this show began. and she's become so integral to so much of this series that, and it's just funny because, well, it's not funny. It's sad. I feel so bad for Stan. Stan is head over heels in love with this woman, and she knows it, and she's using him. I think. I don't know.
Well, the whole polygraph thing was, I mean, really, there was never any doubt she wasn't going to pass this thing.
Right.
But when she goes through the polygraph and when they ask her the tough questions and you see her look off into the corner where Oleg would be, in her mind, and she helps her pass the test. But then afterwards, they meet and, love the show, but there's just a couple things where you're just like, really, you knew that Stan and the guy running the poly test had to go off and kind of discuss in private for a couple seconds, and oh my gosh, nail bite time, is she going to get caught? And, no, she wasn't going to get caught.
Right, and I did think it was a little bit of a cop out. Sorry, Mr. Brand and folks of. When she goes and he's like, okay, we got to get you out of there. And her excuse is, no, I want to stay. I can handle Oleg. He's just a pretty boy. And they're gonna make me in charge of the illegals program. So she's basically told him everything that she could have said to avoid taking this lie detector test. She basically said everything they could have avoided. That would have negated half of this episode.
Right.
She could have said that initially. She could have lied to Stan and said, no, I can handle Oleg. He's just this. And Stan was like, are you sure?
Right.
And Stan goes along with it.
And what does she say to him? And again, she reels him in because what does she say to him?
We're in this together.
We are together forever now.
Yeah. Yes.
One thing I had brought up with Scott, we're talking about this episode and the length and stuff like that. One thing I brought up is I don't watch this show live. I watch it after the fact, and
you're not supposed to say that, man.
Oh, I watch it live, but I also
wants to know that people watch it live.
Well, they also want to know their
I'm just
plus
kidding.
1 and 3 and 5. So as I'm flipping through fast forwarding through the commercials, I was like, the first set or second set, I was like, wow, that seems really long. So I watched I clocked the episode from when it goes when the scene goes to black to when the scene opens up again, not including the disclaimer in the front, the TVMA 13 thing, but from fade out to fade in, the commercial time, if you take the commercials, if you back those out, this whole episode was 39, give or take a couple seconds, 39 minutes and 46 seconds long. Just a little bit more than a half hour was the length of this episode, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, and it had those 2 filler scenes with Henry, so I wonder what else was written for this episode. What do you think's going to happen with Henry? Do you think he's going to get caught?
Oh my gosh, that's my thing. That's my guess, is that he's going to misjudge when the family comes home and get busted in the act. What are you doing playing my television? Hold on a second. I'm almost done playing football here.
Well, yeah, that's a weird thing, I mean, something has to come with it, doesn't it?
Yeah, something's got to come from like the family.
Otherwise, it's like
you would know if somebody came in your house and played your system. You'd be like, "Who's been touching my stuff?" I didn't leave Lock and Chase in my television the last time.
Would you remember? Do you think you remember?
Oh, absolutely, you would. You would
right.
totally remember the last game you played.
I don't think I. Well, I guess you'd only have like 3 games. It's not like you have a ton of games. You're right.
Yeah.
Who's been eating my Cheetos?
Or he leaves the console out. Maybe they put the console away, but he left it out. Whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Or he falls asleep.
But remember, he's not just playing the game. He's raiding the refrigerator too. He's going in like, oh,
look, frozen Twinkies, awesome.
Exactly.
Ho-hos, awesome.
Oh man, there was no better way to eat a Twinkie than frozen.
No better way to eat any of those crappy, bad for you foods than frozen. Little Debbie's cakes, man. The white cakes.
used to go through
zebra
joke.
cakes. You know the
Zebra cakes.
Oh my god.
Oatmeal cream pies were my they were my crack.
When I was in college, my college roommate would sometimes get the little Debbie cakes, the zebra cakes. I could eat like, well, they came in 2-packs. I could eat 6 before I started to get sick. I was like, I gotta have another one. I gotta have another one.
On several occasions, I ate an entire box of Little Debbie oatmeal cream pies about a half hour before swim practice. Yep. Didn't faze me at all. Wasn't sick. Wasn't.
Well, you were gonna go burn it off.
I know. But I try to reenact those days these days.
How's that work for you?
No, the results aren't quite as good. Not in the 24-hour first 24 hours, and then long lasting effects. No, either no.
Oh, I laugh only because I'm right there with you, my friend. I was like, even 10 years, even like 5 years ago, I could burn off. I'm like, woo, yeah. And now it's like, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I can't get rid of it. Well, what else we got for us, Jeff?
Random crew members.
Random crew members of the week. We got the random crew members. The random crew members of the week. It's the random crew members of the week. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Jeff's looking at the. Usually he can see me and he can know when I'm done, but now he's like, is he gonna keep going?
I keep looking over like, he's done. Is he done? Okay, now it's no.
We're gonna try and figure out Google Chat next time, folks.
Yeah, we have a problem with Skype trying to get this thing
to work for my computer.
To work from Scott's Commodore 64. So
I don't know.
No. Why you got to be personal? All right. So our first random crew member is Conrad Brink.
Conrad Brink,
who is the special effects supervisor. One of the special effects supervisors.
Nice.
And he did work on Avengers, Black Swan, I Am Legend, and I think his first work might have been Jacob's Ladder. Remember that?
Ooh, yeah, man. I didn't love Jacob's Ladder. Jacob's Ladder to me reminds me of. Do you remember that movie? Now it's blanking on. It's a Confederate soldier one. An Occurrence at Owl Creek. Do you remember that story?
I've heard of it.
An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge. I'm sorry, which is a story of a man who is I believe he is a Confederate soldier who is being hung on it's a Confederate sympathizer being hung on Owl Creek Bridge.
Hanged.
And when he gets, yes, I'm sorry, hanged. No, you're right. I'm sorry. It's a common mistake, and I made it. And I'm sorry. Being hanged on Owl Creek Bridge, and the rope breaks. And he escapes, and he goes through this whole thing, and it's like this great story, and they made it in a really cool film, almost a Twilight episode. And then at the very end, just as the whole thing is he's running to get back to his home. And just as he gets to his front door is opening, and there's his wife, and he reaches for her, and the rope tightens. It's all in the moment before he dies. And that's what Jacob's Ladder was to me. It's fine.
So there's a guy who's about to be hanged on a bridge.
He's being hanged.
He's being hanged. The rope breaks, and he falls into Cold Mountain, and then gets pulled back into this movie.
He falls into Cold Mountain. He winds up on a horse and getting shot and getting stationed out with buffalo. Decides he doesn't want to be with the buffalo anymore. He wants to get back to his wife, who's played by Nicole Kidman. Did you see that movie?
I did.
That movie did not do it for me.
Yeah.
Okay,
our next random crew member.
Sorry. That was nothing. Avengers was great special effects, so. Okay, next random crew member.
Michael Fucci.
Michael Fucci!
He's a location manager and producer.
Awesome.
He didn't have a huge list of credits, but he's done work on Bourne Supremacy, cool. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Law and Order.
So 2 spy movies and a legal show. Yeah. Awesome. Very cool. Thank you very much. Oh, what?
I want real random for this third one.
Uh-oh.
Karen Holl. Holl. Karen Holl.
Hole or Hall?
Hall. Holl. Hall. Hall.
Hall. Can you imagine growing up with the name Karen Hole if that was me? No offense. I mean, it suck.
Maybe there's an umlaut. Karen Hull. She is. She is a payroll clerk.
Oh, okay. That is obscure.
It is obscure.
She was listed in the end credits?
Well, it's listed on IMDb, and she's listed as other or miscellaneous crew members. So I was like, what do we got there? So she's done work on this. She's got great credits because as a payroll clerk, she's worked on Winter's Tale, which is relatively recent, The Jerry Springer Show, and
oh,
Maury.
Nice. And more?
And Maury.
What's Winter's Tale?
Winter's Tale?
What is that? Is that movie with Russell Crowe that came out? No.
No, that's Noah.
No, there's that movie with Colin Farrell. And
yes, it's that one.
That's Winter's Tale?
Yeah.
That was shot in New York. That would make sense.
A burglar falls for an heiress as she dies in his arms. When he learns that he has the gift of reincarnation, he sets out to save her.
And that was directed and written by Akiva Goldsman.
Jennifer Connelly.
Yep. Will Smith plays the devil in that movie. You don't know it. I'm sorry, I just ruined it.
Wait, Will Smith does?
Yes, Will Smith is in that movie.
Oh, look, he's in that movie.
Plays the devil.
Huh. Well, what do you know? All right.
And there you have it. Another fine episode of the podcast. I apologize for...
Why are you apologizing every week?
Okay, this was a great podcast. This is one of our best ever. Because every week I feel like I'm letting you down, Jeff.
No, it's fun.
Okay, I'm having a blast. I love doing this. Anybody that listens to this, I hope you get the sense that it's just two guys sitting around in my basement of my house where I grew up, because that's just what we do. Just sit around and talk stupid to each other for an hour and a half. And they go, oh, dude, it's 11 o'clock. I got to go home. Okay. Shh. Be quiet walking up the stairs. They creak. You wake my parents up. And then you open the front door. I don't know. I don't know how that worked at your house, Jeff. That's how it was at my parents' house.
Nah, man. I had creaky stairs, but my parents could sleep through a bomb blast. I had 3 dogs, too, and they could sleep very soundly as well.
Good guard dogs.
Yeah, they were awful. I told the parakeet story, right?
You did tell the parakeet
story. Yeah, that was the only sentinel in the house. That was the alarm system, and he had a blanket over his cage, for crying out loud.
Why didn't you ever take the parakeet out?
Kill it? Well, I could have, but then we'd be out of parakeet.
You loved that parakeet, didn't you, Jeff? You used to take it out and stroke its feathers. What was its name?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I mean, parakeets are like, they catch a draft and they die like within like a day or so. I mean,
so how many parakeets did you have?
Probably 6. One would die and be like, that's it, we're never getting another parakeet. And then my parents would go to a pet store at one point. They're like, oh, we should get a parakeet. Get a parakeet.
Were they all named the same thing?
They were all silly names.
Like Michael Sparky.
No.
Michael Parakeet.
No, we were never that creative.
Why is that making me laugh?
This is what people tune in for. A couple of morons just sitting here laughing.
Michael Parakeeton.
All right, take us out on the credits.
Before I go, I must say that I am an employee of Cartoon Network and the Turner Broadcast System, and the opinions expressed here are my own and not those of the parent company, and they will be happy to admit that, because I am an idiot sometimes. can't stop that. It's just so dumb. Okay. The music you hear on the Comrades podcast is by a group XB8. If you'd like to hear more of their music, you can go to xb8.bandcamp.com. Every week until May 3rd, I'm asking people to please consider making a donation to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Their annual fundraiser, Great Strides, is coming up in Valencia on May 3rd. That is our Valencia walk. But there are walks across the country in different cities wherever you go. If you go to cff.org, which is the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation website, you can look up where a walk may be taking place near you. You can form a team, raise money to find a way to end this horrible chronic illness that afflicts many people in this country, most of them children. And you can find out more information on the Comrades Facebook page. And with that, I would like to say thank you for listening. I do have fun. I'm not going to apologize anymore, except for bad jokes like Michael Pearson.
And while Giggles McGillicuddy works himself through it, head on over to southgatemediagroup.com and check out the podcast they have over there. We're 2 episodes into Game of Thrones this season, and they've got a podcast for that, and Mad Men started today. We'll probably have a podcast for that as well.
What other podcasts do you do, Jeff? You just do the Walking Dead podcast?
Yeah, the only other one is Walking Dead, and since we're on hiatus, my co-host and I, Kirk, I think beginning of May we'll do one a month just until until the show starts up again, where we'll talk about movies, horror movies, comic books. This next one we're doing in May, we're going to be talking about Stephen King's The Cell, the movie Let the Right One In, and
that movie's great. Are you going to talk about both of them?
Yeah, we'll talk about both of them, and we'll talk about another movie too. I can't remember what it is, but it's on our Facebook site.
Both of the Let the Right One In movies. I know. Yeah,
they were great. I was actually pleasantly surprised with it.
Or are you just going to talk about the Affordable? I don't mean to keep interrupting you. That's what I meant. I think when you said we're going to talk about both,
I think we might be actually. Now that I think about it, I think we might just be talking about the original.
Okay.
The foreign one. Because I remember making a comment to Kirk that he's actually going to have to read while he watches it.
He's going to have to read? Oh, read
the subtitles.
I thought you meant he's going to have to read the book while he's watching it.
No. Read the subtitles. I watched that thing dubbed. I started watching it dubbed just so I could... Because it's... For me, reading reading the subtitles, it pulls me out of... I find that with the Americans sometimes. Like, I want to watch and just listen, but I have to read the subtitles, so I end up missing what's on the screen. But oh my gosh, the dub on Let the Right One In was awful, and I was just like, forget it.
Where was there a dub version?
DVD,
you must have rented it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it still on Netflix? It used to be streaming on Netflix.
I don't know.
Okay.
Netflix annoys me because they're always turning their inventory over.
Well, it's not their fault. They are.
Don't stick up for them. Don't stick up for them.
No, I'm not sticking up for them. They took my movie off. I'm really not happy with them. I told you that, right?
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, King's Highway was on Netflix for a year, and then they wouldn't renew our thing because I guess we didn't get enough views. We got like 10,000 views in a year. I thought that was pretty good for a movie that nobody's heard of. I don't know. But it's on Amazon. Amazon Prime. Go Prime. Boo!
King's Highway.
Amazon Prime. Sorry, Jeff Stoltz from the show Enlisted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Okay, I'm sorry. Jeff Wright, if you're listening to us on Poptos, you'll notice that the site has gone through a change. They've redesigned the front page and all the web pages, so please make comments and continue to read the work on there. There's some really cool stuff coming up in May that I'll be a part of, which I'll talk about later.
Ooh,
leave you hanging. And if you're listening to it on iTunes, thank you very much for listening on iTunes, and please leave stars.
The more stars, the better.
More stars, the better. Don't rate my jokes. Okay.
Definitely not.
And on that note, I think if we covered everything, Jeff's comic books, you can find information about Deadman's Party on the Comrades Facebook page and Z-Girl on the Comrades Facebook page. Are you going to any conventions coming up, Jeff? Now that since I'm talking about the comic book?
Not until June, I think.
Okay.
There's a New York convention in June, but.
Well, there you go, folks. If you want to come out and meet Jeff and rub his skull and say you're a cool dude and we love you for the podcast, and maybe bring him a dead parakeet. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I'm definitely getting a picture of that one. Someone coming up. Someone brought a dead parakeet to the table at the con. Awesome.
Yes. I think
here's to you, Scott.
Michael Parakeet. And that. And
on that ridiculous
it's only been about an hour. We made it. We did it.
It's been an hour and a half. Are you kidding?
No.
I've got the counter running. Yeah.
Shoot, I'm sorry, dude.
You and your parakeet joke. All right.
Thanks
so we'll see everybody next week.
All right. Bye.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.